Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harding. Glad to be back with a new and exciting episode. It is Super Bowl 60. Wow, 60 years of Super Bowl. Can't believe it. It's here tomorrow. Super Bowl 60 between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. If anybody predicted this Super Bowl in the beginning of the year, you guys should definitely play the lottery because I don't know anybody who in this space who predicted that. But here we are, two different teams in the Super Bowl. This is a rematch from years ago, the infamous Malcolm Butler interception on that. So we get that back. I think it was in 2014 actually. So we get that rematch with a whole new cast of characters, new cast of players. So, but before we get started, like I said, I got a great returning podcast family coming back to the show. So before I bring her on, hit my music. Let's get it. All right. Once again, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Hardin. Happy Saturday, February 7th, 2026. It is Super Bowl 60. Glad to do. We have a big preview show upcoming, and I got a great returning guest back on the show. One of my favorite people in this industry. So looking forward to getting her predictions. And she's a big Patriots fan, Boston fan through and through. So so I know she's excited to dive into this. And her New England Patriots are back in the Super Bowl once again. But before I bring her on, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, wherever you get podcasts. We're there: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com. BS3 Network, Roku channel, iHeartRadio. Again, we're on all those platforms, and you can follow me on all the social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky. So let me bring in my guest podcast family. Been on the show many times. We exchange shows. I'm on her show a lot. She's on my show a lot. I think she's on my show at least a few times a year. So I want to bring her in. She is the host of the Boston Ballin podcast, also Locked On Red Sox podcast, sports reporter. She's out there doing a lot of different things as well for, all Boston sports, but not just Boston sports, but just in general, a little bit of everything. So let me bring in one of my favorite people in this industry, Gabby Maljanian. Gabby, welcome to the show. Really appreciate it.
Hi, Courtney. Thanks so much for having me on. It's always a great time when we connect and talk sports. And it's funny you mention that we've done so many shows together because it's so true. And I wish I had kept track of each time so that we would know how many times it's been now, but it really has been a lot.
It has been. I remember at one time it was 10, but I think we're past that now, at least 20 together. Because like I said, I've been on the Boston Ballin podcast multiple times, and you've been on my show multiple times. So again, welcome back. I think the last show we did was a NFL preview, and I think we did some NBA too. So it was probably some NBA as well. So sometime in either August and October. So we did a couple of shows then. So so glad to have you back on. It's only right I had to get you on. It was perfect timing. Patriots in the Super Bowl, back in the Super Bowl again, and as you said, you report your fan, you report and do all types of things with Boston sports, with Boston Ballin and Locked On Red Sox. So it's only right to bring you back on. So again, thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Oh, of course, always. Yeah, I know. When you asked, I was like, I mean, the timing could not be more perfect. And we were just talking off air too. I mean, you and I did a football preview before the season started, and not even at any point did it cross my mind that we could be here now talking about the Patriots and the Super Bowl. I just did not think that was going to happen. So it's definitely cool that we were able to do this and think back to us having that conversation and kind of where they're at now.
I think we both because like you said, you're very transparent and very realistic on your predictions for your teams. Of course, you're a fan, you want your teams to succeed and everything too. But I think we both are like, hey, if the Patriots can win 7, 8 games, maybe 9 at the most, that's an accomplishment in itself. But for them to win 14 games, win a division, go through the playoffs, and now they're here in the Super Bowl 60. I like I said, if anybody predicted the Seahawks and the and the Patriots to make the Super Bowl, I mean, good that's something, and I think we all probably my Eagles were one of the favorites in the NFC.
Yes.
Maybe the Rams. I know they were one of the favorites out of the NFC. Some had the Commanders with the year they had this last season, but injuries derailed their season. So those were some of the teams in the NFC. AFC is probably the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. Those were probably some of the favorites out of the AFC. So none of them are in it. So two new teams, two different teams. So hey, we love it. Love to see it.
Yeah, I definitely did not predict either of these teams
Mhm.
going into the season. These were not the teams that crossed my mind as, all
Yeah,
right, these are the teams that are going to be in the Super Bowl. So it's always fun when you have those surprise teams that kind of emerge. I definitely thought the Chiefs were going to be better this year than they were. For sure was picking teams like the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs.
yeah,
Those were the types of teams I thought we were going to see again come out of the AFC. And it's really exciting because you think about this Super Bowl and it really just shows that this is the time for the young quarterbacks. This is it's exciting thinking about the future of the NFL with this young talent in the league. And that's definitely a huge storyline in this Super Bowl.
yeah. Huge storyline. Yeah, good point. Because yeah, this season alone has been. It was a lot of just a lot of different quarterbacks, a lot of different teams, and when you said one of the big storyline is the young quarterbacks, and your quarterback Drake May was that close to winning an MVP, had an MVP year, probably should have won the MVP. But Matthew Stafford another dominant year, great year as well. So it could have went either way. I didn't know who I would have picked Drake May, but not mad at Matthew Stafford winning MVP. But again, you had him, and you got the redemption story, and Sam Darnold, who was left for nothing, basically just dropped off, and now he's here. Had Minnesota just let him go after having a good year last year, and Seattle picked him up, and now he's in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, we'll get into the storylines in a minute, but yeah, it's been an interesting year, to say the least, and all the coaching changes now, and things like that, and Mike Vrabel, coach of the year, and now he's here in the Super Bowl. About to win as maybe win as a player, and now might win as a coach too.
Yeah, it's definitely really cool. And it goes to show that coaching is so important. And if you have the
Mhm.
right coach in your system, that can take you places. And I was really excited when they hired Vrabel. I was like, this is a guy who's familiar with winning and
Yeah.
familiar with the
Yes.
Patriots organization. And with the way that this guy talks in his interviews, like, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody who, really openly expresses how much they want to win more than him. I mean, this guy is just so would basically do anything to win a Super Bowl. And I think that's so cool because even at the beginning of the season, he mentioned I would do basically anything to bring this Patriots team
Yeah.
a Super Bowl ring this year. And I think that's a cool mentality to have. And I think that's been able to translate over to the players this year. I think he really has set this tone in the locker room of, them wanting to be there and them wanting to continue to push themselves throughout the course of the whole season. And I think that's a lot of what's led them here is I think he's just been a great leader for this team and a great guy to kind of instill that mentality of, we're never out, even if we're down, and we're here for a reason. And I think he made them really believe in themselves and have a lot of confidence this season. And I do think I give him a ton of credit for what he did with this team.
Yeah, that's it right there. You're right. I think Vrabel and what his leadership, how he conducts. I mean, he did it as a player. He did it when he was coaching the Titans, and now with the Patriots. I mean, he won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. That
Mhm.
first with the Brady Belichick regime, and now he said he can make history as first year coach, 3 Super Bowl rings as a linebacker with the franchise, could make a unique history with one more win. He would be to become the first person in NFL history to win a Super Bowl as a player and a coach for the same team. That would be tremendous. But as you said, he brings that toughness of that to this team. And as you said, he'll well, no matter what it takes, he will do what his coaching style is. He'll bring that for the Patriots, and that's the blueprint of how they've been winning is through him. And Josh McDaniels, of course, too, as the offensive coordinator, back with New England as well, and they've unlocked something again. So if they win tomorrow, it could be something special again. And again, it just be like from Brady to Drake May, and Brady is the leader of this team, and he does his leadership skills. It translates to the team.
Yeah, 100%. And it's really exciting to think about too, because this Patriots team has a young core. There's a lot of young players on this team, and that's why I didn't feel like they were going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I mean, I thought that this would be kind of more of a developmental year because new head coach, Drake May in his second year, still lots of young talent on the team and them kind of establishing themselves and finding that identity. But the fact that they far exceeded expectations this year, to me, really says a lot about how good the future is and how excited we should be as Patriots fans, regardless of how things turn out tomorrow. We should still be really excited about where this team is at and what things could look like moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. You guys got definitely a nice young core. And as you said, no matter what the result is tomorrow, win or lose, they have a team that they can build on and continue to keep building, moving forward. So again, they weren't down for too long. When Brady retired, left and retired, and Belichick leaves, they weren't down to that much long. And now they're back in it, and now it can start something new with this young core. And maybe get to multiple Super Bowls. So we'll see what happens. So speaking of that, let's talk about the game in itself. Like you said, Patriots are taking on the Seattle Seahawks. This is a rematch from 2014. And the last, now they did play last year, two seasons ago in 2024. That was their last meeting. Just looking at some of the stats, Seahawks won 23-20 in overtime. Totally different teams from there as well. But talk a little about on the Patriots side, some of the storylines you're looking forward to, and some of the keys that you're looking for what the Patriots must do to beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think the defense has been a huge storyline of the playoffs for the Patriots. I mean, that really is the driving force behind them getting to where they are. That defense has been stellar throughout the entirety of this postseason, and they've faced some really tough defenses along the way, really. I mean, they've faced top 5 defenses in this entire playoff journey so far. I mean, the Chargers defense, no joke. The Texans defense, no joke. I mean, the Broncos defense, I mean, you name it. They've faced some really tough defenses, but their defense was also able to match up to that. And that's, to me, what's been the most impressive thing to me is I feel like if that defense continues to play the way that they've been playing, they can win this game because that was what kept them in all those other games was the defense in particular. So I have to give a lot of credit to them for really stepping up. And, even in a tough road environment in Denver, a lot of people were hesitant about how the Patriots were going to look because, they had those other playoff games under their belt, but those games were at home. So now it's like, all right, are they going to be able to go on the road and deal with that adversity that comes with playing in a place like Denver? Obviously, the number 1 seed in the AFC for a reason, a team that was really good all season. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Bo Nix got hurt. And that definitely, I think, changed the trajectory a little bit. But even still, I was like, I'm not sleeping on the Broncos without Nix. I think, they can still win this game. So I was like, how are the Patriots going to respond to that? But that defense just didn't even skip a beat. It was like they didn't even look any different from how they had looked the couple weeks prior. So that going into this game is going to be a big thing for me. If the defense can buckle down and play the way that they've been playing, and they can do a good job of containing Sam Darnold, I think they have a good shot, because I think, they can keep it close if their defense is doing what they've been doing. That being said, though, the offense has to be a lot better.
Yeah.
Drake May and company have struggled to really get things going offensively. I would like to see them establish their run game a little bit earlier in this game. In the AFC Championship game, they couldn't really get the run game going. And they have a really strong running back duo of Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, who both have been really good this season together. And that has really been the driving force behind a lot of their success on offense. But they couldn't really get those two going in the AFC Championship, so they adapted, which I liked. They kind of changed a little bit of the offensive game plan after that. But I definitely do think the run game is going to be huge in this game for the Patriots. I think that's one of their biggest strengths, and they should try to establish that early on in this game. And if they do, I definitely think they have a shot. I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter say they think that the Seahawks are going to blow out the Patriots. But, if the Patriots offense plays up to the potential that they can, I think this could be a really competitive game. I don't think the Seahawks are an astoundingly better team than the Patriots if the Patriots are playing at their best.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you're right. I think the defense on the Patriots side has been tremendous. They've only allowed they've only given up 2 touchdowns in those 3 playoff games. And they've been able to really shut down those QBs. As you said, CJ Stroud threw 4 first half interceptions. They sacked Justin Herbert 6 times. Jarrett Stidham, yes, as a backup, they really shut him down too. So the defense has really put that effort in to win this, ways to win the Super Bowl as well. So I could see the Patriots continuing on with that theme of pressuring Sam Darnold. Even though Sam Darnold has played tremendous in these playoffs, in the big games leading into the Super Bowl, but with the way the Patriots couldn't win, as you said, defensively, continue to pressure and maybe force Sam Darnold to some mistakes and things like that. I don't feel like Seattle's going to blow them out either at all. I think it's going to be a really close game because you do got 2 good defenses on both sides. It just depends on who limits mistakes and everything too. But on the Patriots side, like what you said, they got to get back into, hopefully Drake May can reclaim his regular season form. And I think that's where, the struggles offensively that they've had in the postseason offensively, get back to running the football and those timing plays and throwing the football down the field with the run game as well. I think that's where they can get back into offensively. But like you said, yeah, they got to definitely get back to what they were doing offensively in the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because people are like, well, Drake May's never been in a Super Bowl atmosphere. And I'm like, well, neither has Darnold. Like,
yeah, right.
That kind of goes both ways too. Like,
yeah.
And people were saying that about the playoff environment. And I was too. I was like, this is a young Patriots team. They're not really used to that playoff atmosphere in general as an overall team. And there's a lot of players on this team who have never experienced that before. So that is always something you think about when you're a younger team going into the postseason, is how are they going to be able to deal with that, with the added pressure that comes with playing in a postseason game. And the fact that they've been able to show it all throughout the course of this postseason, that they can find ways to win. That's what has me optimistic. And obviously, when we talked about the offense and how they just need to be a lot better, they were still finding ways to win. And it's about just, finding a way to win. And that's exactly what they've been doing. And I do think this game, it's going to be tough. This is definitely not going to be easy. I think the Seahawks are the most complete team that the Patriots will see in this postseason. I mean, they looked really good against the Rams.
They did.
By the way, I thought the Rams were going to win that game, and that made me nervous because I was like, I have no interest in dealing with Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl. I just don't have interest in doing that. So, I kind of wanted Seattle to win because I think I would have been a lot more nervous about playing the Rams. I mean, been there, done that for them. Matthew Stafford with the season he's having, I just was not really happy with the possibility of that. So I was like, at least with Seattle, you can feel like it's a little bit more of an even playing field in terms of the experience level when it comes to going to the Super Bowl. So both teams are kind of equally going to be nervous, I'm sure, going into this game. But I feel like something this Patriots team has that I've really appreciated all season long is that they really do have that next man up mentality. And that's, again, something I think Mike Vrabel has instilled in this team is just like, this team just has chemistry. And I think that's something that, they can use as motivation going into this game. And I'm really excited to see how that plays out. But the offense, no doubt, needs to be better. Drake May needs to be a lot better. And they just need to try to get their offense going and established earlier. And granted, like, we do have to keep in mind too, the defenses they've played in this postseason run obviously have been tough defenses, but I do not think they win this game unless the offense plays better than they did, because I don't think this is going to be the type of game where they can get away with winning if their offense isn't 100%. I think their offense needs to play the way we've seen them play in the regular season in order for them to have a shot, because this Seahawks team is good. And I think, I don't really see a lot of holes overall in that team. So I think this is the type of game where they really have to buckle down and the offense just has to be better.
Yeah, offense definitely have to play better. As you said, if they can get Drake May, if he can give him time and limit the pressure, because Seattle's going to bring pressure. They're going to bring a lot of pressure and try to get Drake May to throw a pick or get him to turn the ball over. And if they can give him time, he can step up and make those plays like he was doing in the regular season. Then New England can move this football against the Seattle team, because the Rams were doing that. The Rams were moving the ball against the Seattle defense. And Seattle got a really good defense as well. But if they get pressure on Drake May and he start making mistakes, yes, the defense of the Patriots can hold it down on the other end. But it could be one of those things where a couple of times, then Seattle might break through with their running game as well. And then JSN might break out. You just don't know. I think Seattle has more ways to win. Because like I said, I think they are the better team, but I just think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be very close. I'm thinking, I haven't did a score yet, but I'm thinking more like 2017, 2016. I'm going Patriots, 2016, but it's definitely going to come down to who's going to limit the mistakes for sure. And what defense can step up. But shout out to Nathan Ramachandra. He just said happy Saturday. I know he's at Radio Row in San Francisco. He said good luck. And he said the Patriots must establish the running game early. We agree. I think they will. I think they are going to have to establish the run game first and foremost. And if they do that, the Patriots do that, I think they can that'll limit Seattle from pressuring Drake May into mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this shouldn't go unsaid either. The Patriots offensive line needs to be better. I mean, Drake May didn't have the longest amount of time to throw that he could have had in this playoff run so far. There's some young offensive linemen on this team too. They need to step up and they need to be a lot better against that defensive pressure. And that's something too that I'm going to be looking at in this game tomorrow. Is we haven't seen the best performances overall out of the offensive line in this playoffs. And I do think that's something that's going to be very important against a really tough Seattle defense in this game as well. And just being able to protect Drake May, because if he has the opportunity to throw, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen the types of plays that he can make if he has the time. So if the offensive line is able to give him that time, I do think that the Patriots do have the weapons to where they could make this work. I mean, even the receiving core, I mean, guys like Matt Collins, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams, those guys have stepped up this year. And then even like Kayshon Boutte, he's another one who has really stepped up this year too. So you have guys who are stepping up at that level. It's just the offensive line needs to be able to allow May that opportunity to make those types of plays. So I do agree with you. I think if you're looking at these two teams on paper, Seattle has the edge in terms of like just the overall quote unquote better team. But I do think it all comes down to execution. And if the Patriots can force more mistakes, if their defense continues to do what they do and the offensive line is a little bit better and the offense is a little bit better, I do think that they can win this game.
I do too. And yeah, and I think with Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, they got to get Travion Henderson back into. He's one of the players on the Patriots. I think that they need some explosive. If they need some explosive plays, he's been the guy. Now they didn't utilize him in the last game, which I was very surprised by. But then Ramondre Stevenson has been back healthy. He's their workhorse back. But Travion Henderson, he brings a different dynamic in that run game. And if they need something, something going, I hope Vrabel can give him, because I think he only had 4 carries the last
Yep.
game as well. So they didn't utilize him, didn't really need him much. But if you needed something with some explosive plays, that he's one of those guys. And you talked about Kayshon Boutte and Stephon Diggs, especially Stephon Diggs shots down the field. It could be one of those Hunter Henry games too, where he breaks open. Next thing you know, he's got 2 touchdowns and everything too. I just remember him because I think I
He
had him
does
on my.
have those types of
Yeah,
games.
he does have those types of games. These are those types of games where if Drake May is struggling and he needs a security blanket, okay, go right to the tight end. If the running game's going, go right to your tight end, and that's where your tight end can get those targets. And then next thing you know, Hunter Henry's got 5-6 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's like, oh, there he is. So anybody's playing fantasy football, or you got prop bets and all that, because I know that's all going on as well. Check out what Hunter Henry. I've been saying that he can actually get one of those games, get 50+ yards and a touchdown or so, and then next thing you know, he's their weapon that can help Drake May as well. So, but what's the one thing for you on Seattle that you're afraid that they could expose New England? Any of the weapons they have? What do you think? A couple keys for Seattle that you think that New England might struggle with tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm definitely nervous about Seattle's defense overall. I
Mm,
think it's going to be really difficult if the Patriots aren't able to establish their offense early on. I think it could be a really long night for them. This almost feels like the type of game where the Patriots need to score first to kind of
yeah,
establish
right.
that momentum and make themselves comfortable against that defense, because I do worry that with Seattle's pressure, I do worry that the Patriots run game, it may be a little bit more difficult to try to figure out early on than they might want it to be. And we did see them adjust to that in the AFC Championship game. They kind of tried to move away a little bit from the run game, but I mean, they still weren't able to score a lot. And because that's their biggest strength, I would say, overall offensively, I do worry a little bit that Seattle's defense could be all over that early on in the game. And I would be
Oh,
interested in seeing what the Patriots' plan is to be able to adapt to that.
yeah,
So that's a big thing that I'm looking at in this game, is I could see Seattle's defense being all over that Patriots run game early. And if that's the case, the Patriots could have a tough time in this game because
yeah,
I think they can adapt to that. I think they can try to change up the offensive scheme a little bit, but their offense really isn't where it is right now, and they're not in the Super Bowl right now without that run game. So I do think, and also with Drake May, especially, I think like him, because of the fact that he overall hasn't been great and super effective in this postseason, if he starts to play at all like he played in these last few games, Seattle's going to be all over that too.
yeah,
And that's kind of the biggest thing that I'm concerned about. I think from an offensive perspective, Seattle's offense is good, but it's not really anything the Patriots haven't seen before. I mean, they've seen that defense has had to see good offenses before. And I do think if the Patriots defense can kind of limit Sam Darnold and, shut down his opportunities a little bit, I do think they can control that offense a little bit more. My main concern has to do more with, can the Patriots kind of generate their offensive scheme early that they're used to and they're comfortable with? Because the minute Seattle tries to get all on top of the Patriots run game, that could rattle the Patriots a little bit. And I could see it
yeah.
being a situation where they're lost offensively and they can't really get anything going after that. And that's a little bit of a fear that I have. I mean, even in
Mm,
that game against the Texans, they were kind of lost offensively for a lot of that game. And they were lucky they pulled out a win there because the defense was as good as it was. But as soon as they're not able to do what they're used to and what they're good at, Drake May and company get a little bit rattled, and I'm a little bit
Yeah.
concerned about that and their ability to bounce back from that.
Yeah, they get a little stagnant. I agree. I think when if they're not able to establish that run, and as you said, if Seattle gets a couple of plays, you said pressure on Drake May, they stop the run, and they're able to do three and outs, three and outs, three and outs. That's what you said. New England will get stagnant and they can't establish anything. And I think that's where again Trayvon Henderson and Hunter Henry I think will be the keys of that regard. But then again, that you have to if they pressure Drake May, because you're right, he's been sacked 10 times in the last 2 games and negative plays, and in those third and long situations for a young quarterback in this magnitude of a game can rattle someone like him as
Yep.
well. So I agree with you 100%. They have to establish that a lead, a run, get that offense identity early before, because then because I think if they do that, that gets Drake May and that offense settled in. Now it's like, okay, we're settled. If you said it's like 14-13 or 13-10, okay, we're settled. We know how we can move this ball against the Seattle defense on that end. But you said Seattle defense is really, really good. It can be really, really good. The offense can be real good. But again, Sam Darnold, you have to always still worry. As great as he's played, you still got to worry, okay, is he going to go back to that Sam Darnold where he gets rattled and playing a good defense? Now, he shredded that top 10 Rams defense this past, 2 weeks ago. So they can move the football. But I think, again, they're another team that they get their running game going with Kenneth Walker, and they get that going. That opens up everything. I mean, JSN was unbelievable this year. He's a weapon. So I think that's another key for Seattle, or for how New England's going to be able to. They got to stop JSN, because you said he can get open. He breaks plays. Like he's a playmaker. So he's another guy that can really break this game open. So there's a lot of keys in this game, but they were able, like I said, to move the ball against the Rams. So this Patriots defense has been very solid. So it's going to be a chess match. It's going to be a really good matchup for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I do think too, like, I mean, there were some notable things in the Patriots Broncos game that, really basically called game for the Patriots. One was an interception late, and one was a blocked field goal attempt. And those two moments to me are maybe the types of moments here that could help change the momentum for the Patriots too, because with how good this defense has been, I just feel like they're going to have to lean on the defense primarily again in this game, just because, not that I'm not confident in the offense, but more that I'm significantly more confident in the defense. And it almost feels like the defense making big, crucial plays like that could be what kind of sets the tone in this game. And if the Patriots are going to win this game, they might need, like a big, massive defensive player to kind of help work things in their favor. But I do worry that if they go down early, like if they allow like an opening drive touchdown, for example, or something like that, then I worry that they're going to be a little bit rattled, and then they might lose focus on their game. So I do feel like this has to be a game where they get comfortable early, have a big defensive stand to start, whether they have the ball first or not, their first offensive drive has to be positive. Like they can't go 3 and out on their opening drive, because I feel like that's, to me, they would get in their heads about that. And that's just not what you want when you're already dealing with a team that has primarily players who have never seen a Super Bowl stage before. You want to be able to like see, okay, even if we don't score on the drive, there were some positivities here and this is what worked. So I think this is a Patriots team that it's going to be really important, whatever that first drive is that they have on offense, how that plays out, I think is going to be huge for their mindset for the rest of the game.
I agree 100%. Got a couple of shout outs as well. This says he gave a birthday shout out to friend Lexi DeVito, who is the mother of her client and friend Tommy DeVito. All right. Yep. And then he got Patriots winning 27-20. That'd be
I
high
like
scoring.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
like that. Good pick.
Yes, yes. He says great points. He said great points from the both of us. Thanks, man. And also comment and on Instagram as well from Chris Drummond. He said he thinks the defense will dictate the game. Defensive touchdown maybe be the difference. That's true. We just talking about both of these defenses are very solid as well. So yeah. So all right, prediction. Since we broke down the keys and things like that, like I said, I got the Patriots winning. I think they win a close game. I think it's not going to be high scoring at all. But I think it's going to be one of those defensive match. I think the Patriots will make just enough plays, make a defensive stop and a stand. I got Patriots 20-16. What do you say? Your prediction and your score?
Yeah, I also don't think it's going to be high scoring. I mean, I don't trust this Patriots offense right now to put up a lot of points as it is based on what I've seen in the playoffs so far. And I think Seattle's defense is really good and is going to be able to limit the scoring. But I can also say the same thing about the Patriots defense. I think with how well they've been playing, I think they also will be able to limit the scoring. I think this is gonna be like a 3-point Patriots win. Like I think this is gonna be a come down to the wire. Very similar to how the Broncos Patriots game played out, where the Patriots just made, one more play than the Broncos did. Like they did just enough to win the game. And I think this is gonna be that type of game. I could picture this being a game where the Patriots, make like that big defensive play towards the end to seal it. I'm just picturing like something like that playing out where the Patriots defense just comes up really big to seal this game at the end. I'm thinking like a 17-14 win. Like I'm thinking even like that low scoring.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the over under, I think it was 45, I believe. Last I saw 45, 46. So I can see it going under that as well. So as I said, I got it 2016. You have 17-14. I don't think it's going to go over 40, 45 or 46 points for that.
I'd be surprised if it does.
Yeah, me too. I would be surprised if it gets into one of those shootout type of games. And the next thing you know, like, oh, man, we were all wrong. We thought it was going to be a defensive game. Here it goes 31-21 or something like that, 31-28. Like, okay,
if the score at halftime is like high, then I would genuinely be surprised because I'll be like, yeah, this is just not how I thought this game was going to go. Like,
yeah, right. I mean, yes,
I think the defenses are going to be the story. For sure.
I do too. I agree. And yes, Darnold the kid, yes, he put up the numbers against the Rams, 340 something yards and 3 touchdowns from before. Drake May can carve up a defense too if he, like I said, gets time and gets back to the MVP football he had. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either way, but I think it's gonna be very defensive game as well, for sure. But so what do you all right, let's move on to the Hall of Fame and your beloved coach and owner, Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, former coach and owner, and now still owner Robert Kraft, didn't make the Hall of Fame. Shock on both, really, especially Belichick, and all that would happen in that. There was a lot of backlash and a lot of things happened. As I said, when I knew you were coming on the show, I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. We got to definitely talk about this and everything too. And so what was your thoughts on Belichick, one of the greatest coaches of all time, arguably probably the greatest coach of all time, not making the Hall of Fame, first ballot? And like I said, there's a lot of personal things going on. I know they talk about Deflategate and Spygate, and that's going against him and all this. But as a fan of the Patriots for a long time, what do you feel about Belichick not getting in the Hall of Fame and the owner Robert Kraft as well?
Yeah, first of all, talk about mixed emotions for Patriots fans because it's like we're riding this high because our team is going to the Super Bowl in a year in which nobody thought that they were going to be in the Super Bowl,
right.
Included. So everybody's like super excited about that. Then this Hall of Fame news comes out about Belichick, and it's like, all right, like some of that emotion just went down a little bit because it's like we're still excited about being in the Super Bowl, but it's like, what the heck just happened?
Right.
I've never seen Bill Belichick get more respect in his career than he got from like the entire football community of fans, media, people alike, like former players, like the number of people who were coming forward to give Bill Belichick that respect that never really gave him that during his career. It was so funny. I was like, this is crazy. Like, now we have people who like are known Patriots haters that are coming out and saying this is crazy.
Right.
Like, why is Belichick not in the Hall of Fame? I was rattled. I would say that's like the best way to describe how I felt when that first broke, was like, what is happening?
What's
Like,
happening?
why?
Right.
It's crazy and it's stupid that he's not.
Yes.
Like, it's just, if Bill Belichick isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, then what does a coach have to do to be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
That's a little bit why I'm confused. And it was funny because somebody tweeted like, wow, imagine what Tom Brady could have done if he had a Hall of Fame head coach throughout the course of his career. And it's just like, I'm appalled. I think it really brings to light, this whole Hall of Fame voting process, and the fact that this is just kind of appearing like it's a joke now, because if anybody should be a first ballot Hall of Famer as a coach, it's him. I mean, what he's accomplished as a coach, you can't really make an argument that there's somebody else that should be a first ballot Hall of Famer over him. And I mean, not to mention Robert Kraft either. I mean, what he's accomplished since owning the team. And I mean, even like this season alone, and like what the Patriots have done this year should have made Kraft a shoo-in too. I just feel like that duo of Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick and what they've done together with the Patriots organization is undeniable. And to me, I kind of want to know if, there was some sort of, if it was like a Patriots bias, and that's why
definitely
they aren't in. Because I mean, it sounds weird to say that, but I genuinely do have this thought in my head of, is it because they just don't like the Patriots? And it makes me really concerned for Tom Brady, his first go around, because obviously it's undeniable that Brady should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but are they going to once again, pull this again? And is it truly because there are people who just genuinely don't like the Patriots, so they just don't want these guys in the Hall of Fame?
I think that's exactly what it is. When I first heard this, and I was thinking, wait, what? This has got to be a joke. This has to be, like, okay, maybe somebody made a mistake, or anything like that. But I was thinking, what happened? Like, what's going on? So then things were coming out about, Bill Polian had something against, the Patriots and Bill Belichick. This is a lesson learned. I heard then some other voters said, well, I assumed Bill Belichick was in, so I didn't vote for him. That doesn't give you, like, you should just vote anyway. So that just says that you should get your Hall of Fame vote taken away. You now should not be voting for the Hall of Fame and everything like that. I love what Jimmy Johnson said, former Cowboys coach. He's like, what's it that we need a Hall of Fame then if Bill Belichick, he's like the head of the class. He said, we're all in, and Bill Cowher came out and said something, and he said, we're all in, but if Bill Belichick's not in, he's the cream of the crop. He's the top dog, and he's not in first ballot, then why are we in, and everything too. And I think Rob Gronkowski said the same thing. He was like, okay, if Bill Belichick doesn't get in first ballot, then Andy Reid shouldn't get in first ballot. Then he was saying that. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's got a point, because Andy Reid would be the next best coach, great coach that gets in outside of Belichick. So yeah, it was like, I just thought like, and it had to be, it was definitely a bias of Patriots. And it was so much, I mean, you should take that, and when you're a voter, you should take that bias out when you vote.
Yeah.
It's like, you shouldn't hold that against, just because, okay, I'm not a Patriots fan, but you can't just take someone that was great, all-time great, and not put him in first ballot. And so, and we were talking off camera, we were saying how, okay, what does this say now for Brady? If he doesn't get in, there's got to be a revolt. There's got to be something. If he doesn't get in first ballot, the system is broken, and they need to just take everybody's vote away. They should all just be like, just not even vote at all if Brady doesn't get in. But there's concern. There's true concerns with Belichick not getting in, and now if Brady doesn't, there's a big concern now with Belichick not getting first ballot.
Yeah, it's just so funny, like how many tweets I saw that night, and I was like, so many people are coming forward. Like, this is telling. Like this is like the first time I've seen like the football community or sports community really in general
Mm-hmm.
this united on something maybe ever. Like, and it's
Yes.
like it's so funny because it's like how do you take it seriously moving forward, like the process? And if people can't put biases aside, then they shouldn't be voting.
They shouldn't be voting. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and that's kind of where I'm at with that. Like, why are you getting a vote if you can't be like, oh, like, even though I hate the Patriots, like, I still have eyes and I can see that
Yeah.
Belichick should be in the Hall of
Right.
Fame. Like, and there were
Exactly.
so many former players of his that were coming out and saying, like, I've never met anybody who truly genuinely appreciates our game and its history
Yep.
more than Belichick. And that was another big thing. Like, they were like, you know, just how much I learned from him about football history and all that. They were like, I just really appreciated him for that. And it's just every single player who had played for him who said something, it was just so obvious that they were just like fuming. They were like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, how do you possibly put another coach in first ballot ever again if it's not going to be Belichick?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it was definitely puzzling to say the least that, as you said, 6 Super Bowl championship doesn't get first ballot. It's like, and they can't use the argument that Brady made Belichick and this and that. Hey, you can't use that. It's Belichick was it was a big part of that. And with Brady, they were together, they were joint at the hip, together winning those Super Bowls. And you can't win without the other. Yes, Brady went on and won another one. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
That's how good and great he is and was.
But
But
who's to say that Brady wouldn't have been as good as he was if it weren't for
versus for
Belichick,
Belichick, exactly. Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
making him what he was. That's
yeah.
also like a factor in it that I think sometimes people ignore.
Yeah, they definitely ignore it. This man has won. Belichick, as you said, he's one of those guys that I think Jimmy Johnson said it. Like you just, even Nick Saban when they were, I think they did I don't think it was a show, but they did some things like you got two great football minds that bleeds and breathes football. And as they said,
Mm-hmm.
Belichick, he's a football mind. He does, he knows his football probably more than anybody on this planet.
Yeah.
That the type of mind that he is, and he knows his football. So a guy like that, a mastermind like him, not in the Hall of Fame, 6 Super Bowl championships, second on the all-time wins list, doesn't get in first ballot. Like you said, there should be no Hall of Fame for coaches. Then there should not be a first ballot Hall of Fame for coaches. And I think T.O. said the same thing. Now he should have been a first ballot. He got it, I think, third time, but they talk about his antics and all these things. It's like the man put up numbers. He was an all-time great. It's a bias. It's always a bias when it comes to these Hall of Fame. It's just like
Yep.
with Derek Jeter not getting unanimous. It
Yeah,
was
that was
one.
crazy.
Now, yes, it was a Red Sox. It was a Red
And
Sox
I hate
writer.
the Yankees too.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm
they hated the
saying that.
Yankees, and then you're a Red
Yeah.
Sox fan that don't like the Yankees, but you know
Yeah.
how great someone like that is. But they didn't get in because the Red Sox writer said, and well, unanimous, I should say, didn't get a unanimous because there was one voter that just hated the Yankees that much. It's like, come on, put that bias aside. If you're on the Hall of Fame committee and you're voting, you gotta put those biases aside. And anybody that's a great, you have to put him in first ballot. He will get in, but it's a shame that he's not first ballot for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he'll definitely get in, but like people are really looking at the system now. Like, does
Yeah,
something have
system's
to
broken.
change? Like,
Mm-hmm.
do people need to not be eligible to vote because this is ridiculous?
Yeah, wait a year. That was the whole thing. Like a punishment, like he was a kid. Wait a year. Like, come on, this is all time. This is an all time great coach, if not the greatest coach of all time in NFL history, and he's not first ballot. It's like, yeah, the system's
It's a
broken. You're
joke.
right. It is a big, huge joke. So, but yep. So, but I think we covered everything that on the football side. I wanted to ask you before I let you go and ask you about Boston balling. I see you put a lot of content out lately, and you've been doing
Yeah.
it almost every day, which I've been loving to see. And I remember I reached out to you and say, "Hey, I see Gabby's on again." It's like, okay, she's pushing out this content with the Boston ball and putting more out there and everything too. So talk about how that's been, kind of doing almost daily now. On top of Locked On Red Sox, which is Yeah, I know the baseball season's starting to start real soon. You just said you booked your trip to Florida to get away from this cold weather
Yep.
to go to, for Boston spring training soon in the next couple of weeks. So, but talk about with Boston balling and doing almost a daily show now.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I kind of thought about it and I was like, and I do love doing Locked On Red Sox and I love talking about the Red Sox every day, but I
Yeah,
really got to this point where I was like, wow, I really miss doing Boston balling regularly because it allowed me to talk about all the teams and not just baseball all the time.
yeah,
Um, so I was like, you know what, I want to like bring it back in a deeper capacity. And it used to be once a week, but I was like, I could like change the format and do it a little bit differently. So I've been doing it 4 days a week. Mondays talking about the Patriots, Tuesdays Celtics, Wednesdays Bruins, Thursdays Red Sox. And I was like, I'm also bringing it back at a time where it's a great time for Boston sports. I mean, obviously the
yeah.
Patriots are in the Super Bowl. The Celtics and how well they're playing without
Oh my
Jason
goodness.
Tatum, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody expected that either. That's a whole
Yeah.
nother topic as well. That they're where they're at now with the possibility of Tatum coming back. The Bruins are playing better than people thought. Baseball season starting soon, so I was like, this is a good time to kind of amp it back up. So that's where
Yeah.
we're at.
Yeah, you've definitely amped it back up. And I remember you were talking about this during basketball season, actually. And we were talking about the Celtics and how we thought, they'll probably be playing, depending on when Tatum comes back. And they've definitely have has surprised even Celtics fans how good they've been.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
what are they, second, third seed, I think right now, second,
second
third
in the
place,
East right now. Yeah,
second in the East right now behind Detroit. And they just got Vucevic in a trade, so that was big for them. Was stretch five to fill in that Porzingis, Al Horford. Next thing now, Porzingis
yeah.
is on Golden State with Al Horford playing. They'll be playing together. If
Which is
if
funny how that works
how
out.
that worked out. You're right, right. So, but you said with the way Boston sports has been, I mean, a lot of good to great seasons. He said Patriots in Super Bowl, Bruins playing better than people expected. Celtics are playing very well, and then baseball season getting ready to start. So I saw you've been amping it up. You've been having a lot of good guests as well. So I've been seeing that you amped it up. So I'm glad to see. As I told you before, the more content you're putting out there. It's been good to see.
Oh yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I know it's definitely been a lot of fun. Definitely looking to hopefully continue that. So we'll see how things go there. But I am excited for the potential of, possibly in the next month, Jason Tatum coming back. I think from a recovery standpoint, I think he's close to
Yeah.
being back. He was saying, like, I don't know if I should come back and ruin the chemistry they have. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But if I'm other teams, I do not want to see the Celtics with Tatum coming back based on how they look
No,
right now.
no, they do not want to see the Celtics out of the Knicks, the Pistons, and like those top team Cleveland. They do not want to see with a
No.
healthy Tatum. If Tatum is a healthy Tatum, one of the top 5 to 7 players in the league, comes back to a team that's playing really well. And I know he did say that, and I can see him going either way. I can see it if he doesn't want to ruin the chemistry and say, okay, I'll just sit out the whole year, see how it goes. But it's it's almost like, don't have to make any trades. You're getting Jason Tatum back in the lineup.
Literally.
You don't need a free agent or anything like that. You're getting one of the top players in the league back into this lineup. They're dangerous. They're dangerous even without him, but even more so with him, a healthy Tatum. And if he's, like I said, if he's back to the 7 rebound Tatum, and don't, and like I said, the chemistry still is there. It just shows how good Coach Mazzulla is of managing and coaching this team, and how he's got these guys playing at a high level and bringing Tatum back in. I think it'll be seamless. I think they're dead. So it's gonna be scary team.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody, in
Yeah,
that
good
case,
luck.
everybody else, because I'm
Good
definitely
luck.
looking forward to it. I mean, and also even like just the fact that at first when that injury happened, people thought there was no chance he'd come back at all this season. Everybody thought it
Yeah,
would be at least he'd be out for the year.
right.
Um, so the possibility of him coming back is definitely exciting for the fans, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out because Jaylen Brown definitely has been putting forth a ton this year without Tatum. So I give a lot of credit to him too for, basically putting this team on his back all season long. So if Tatum comes back for a playoff push, everybody else better be careful.
Be careful, better watch out. Yeah, as long as everybody's healthy. And as you said, getting Vucevic, I thought was a big move. Yes, defensively, it hurts. I mean, because he's not,
Yep.
he's not as good defensively, but he's a stretch five and a body that can score 15, 18 points really very good very quickly. So he can Mazzulla just implement him in, and he'll play the Porzingis role without the defense, but he'll have to play like kind of like Al Horford, and even Al Horford was good defensively too, just the age. But yeah, so he'll definitely play, and he stays healthy, and Vucevic stays healthy. He's a healthy body. So yeah, just another big that they needed.
They did
So
need it. Yeah, that was their clear need at the deadline, and they got it. So that plus maybe Tatum coming back, they definitely have a good shot.
Good shot, great shot to come out of the East. So we'll definitely be talking about more Celtics and everything.
Yep.
But as I said, I'm glad to that you're putting out more content with Boston Ballin. And thanks again, Gabby. Always a pleasure having you on. Except it was just perfect timing. I always do a Super Bowl preview show, and your Patriots got in, so I was like, oh, yeah, Gabby's the guest. That was no question. Just I wanted to make sure that you were available, and you was like, yep, I'm available.
Yep,
I think we played this 2 weeks ago anyway. I was going to have you on the show anyway, but it just made sense to say, hey, let's do a Super Bowl preview, and here we are. So, but best of luck with the Patriots tomorrow. I'm sure you'll be locked in and glued in, but
and stressed,
stressed and all that. Oh my goodness, that's one thing. I mean, Eagles last season, I was stressed. I was at a Super Bowl party with a lot of Eagles fans, and we were stressed. But then when the Eagles jumped up on the Chiefs big time, and we were like, okay. But again, you've been through this multiple times, so you know how this goes and everything too. But good luck. But before we go, let everyone know where they can follow you, what you got coming up within the next week or two with Boston Ballin and Locked On Red Sox as well.
Yeah, so I'm kind of available on all social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Gabby Maljanian. Both of my shows are on Twitter as well at LO_Red Sox and at Boston Balling. You can also follow me on Instagram at Gabby_Maljanian10. You can follow both of my shows on any podcast platform, including YouTube. So with baseball season coming up, definitely have some exciting player guests lined up for Locked On Red Sox. Boston Balling, also some fun people coming on who cover the Celtics and Bruins that I have coming up in the next couple of weeks that are going to be talking about, what the outlook is for the rest of the season for those teams. So definitely looking forward to it, and you definitely won't want to miss it because, like I said before, this is a fun time to be a Boston sports fan, and it's always fun when multiple teams are playing well and exceeding expectations, and that's been the big theme around Boston. I would say right now is just everybody's exceeding expectations, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing, and like you said, that's it's always good when the city that you live in. The teams, you said Boston's a big sports city. Philadelphia's a big sports city. When all the teams are doing well, it makes the city and things to talk about much better. I mean, Philadelphia not so much this year. I mean, Eagles, they disappointed. The Sixers, we'll see what happens. There's some optimism there, but Flyers are terrible, and Phillies didn't really do much in the offseason either. So we'll see what happens on that front. But definitely gonna have to get you on.
Phillies are still good though. The Phillies,
they'll still be good. Yeah, they did. They'll still be good. They're just running it back with the same team. And I know fans are upset. I was just talking about that. And you just had Casey Hudson on. So shout out to her, Nesson's Casey Hudson. I've had her on a couple of times on here as well. So but yeah, looking forward to the guests that you're about to have and that you're gonna have and everything. So looking forward to all the content, and we'll be doing this again, I'm sure, before baseball season happens.
Absolutely.
So enjoy that Florida weather and with the Red Sox, and jealous that I want to go back to Florida. So I'd have to talk to my wife and say, your birthday's coming up. You want to go to Florida in March or so? In March, April, and then you watch some March Madness or something like that. We can definitely in some baseball. We can definitely do that. But
yeah,
just
float the idea by her. Maybe she'll say yes.
I know she might. She loves Florida, so yeah, that wouldn't be hard. Just finding some good ticket prices for sure. Yeah, that's the only thing. But Florida's only a couple hours away flying, so
yeah,
we might. Yeah, not bad at all. 2-hour flight, 2-3 hour flight. That's perfect. But yeah, thanks, Gabby, again. I really appreciate it, and we'll talk in a couple of months.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Yeah, bye.